Linens and Hutch, a family-owned company who specialize in soft and cozy, high-quality, on-trend colors and patterns that never go out of style. Everything for your bed products at the least possible price. Linens and Hutch is able to do this by designing and working directly with expert manufacturers to cut out the middleman and pass the savings on to their customers, providing affordable luxury. Since I received my sheets and down alternative comforter, that is like so soft, which, matches up to actual down comforters at higher prices. They are like 90 GSM microfiber, hypoallergenic, which is great for those of you with sensitive skin and can't take full down, down comforter. It's snuggling up into them. It's toasty, they're soft. You just melt away in there, and they are so warm. I look forward to this after a long day at work and just coming home and getting into my sheets and comforters from Linens and Hutch. I can't say the most about them. There's so much that you just have to try them for yourself. Linens and Hutch provide fast and free shipping. They are so confident that you love their bedding products that they are offering a 100-day trial period. Yummy. Money back guarantee. Linens and Hutch knows you'll be so satisfied that they are offering listeners 70% off site-wise. And all you gotta do is go to their website, located at www.linensandhutch.com, and use the code GSMC6 for the softest sheets ever.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Welcome to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Hello out there, all my little sexy people. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Today, we are going to talk about the lovely orgasm, at least the nipple orgasm. Yay. Sometimes elusive, sometimes not. But we are going to talk about orgasms today. So, let's get this party started. Now, nipple orgasms are either for the man, for the woman. It's either or. Those little tiny boogers on your chest have a lot to offer when it comes to orgasms. And mostly are probably the most sensitive area, aside from on a woman, a clitoris, on the man, hey, just their penis. That is really sensitive erogenous zone that just tantalizes your genitals. They're made up of like all these little nerves, and you can't get away from that because all those nerves are getting you all hot and bothered in there. You know, most everything, and everybody always says the only way you're going to get a woman to get an orgasm is if you stimulate her vagina, her clitoris, all that area. And that's not true. There are so many other parts of us. And a lot of people nowadays, I mean, back then it was just like, get in there and boom, you're done. Nowadays, people actually take the time in finding out what those zones are and how they can be worked and how they add on to the orgasm, because we've got to find different ways. Sex has become more open and more so expressed that you can't, you've got to try it. There's just ways. There's no excuse. There's just try it and see where you go and what it does. Hey, some people get tantalized by their toes. I'm just saying. But those nipple orgasms are amazing. Now, really, it's like I said, pop culture really suggests that only women can orgasm by stimulating their vaginal area. Well, we all know it's not true. So, and it's really far-fetched, a myth, terribly a myth. But women orgasm and can do this without ever touching their genitals. And that's by your nipples and just playing with them. And with men, it's a little different. You got to go a little further. They need some extreme genital pleasure. Wake it up, little one-eyed critter down there. When playing with nipples, it just sends, it's weird, all this stimulation, and it helps to get to that big orgasm, not the small ones or anything like that. It's the big orgasms. And getting started with that and just working your way down, or just basically try it. Just only play with your partner's nipples, especially if it's a female. You'll have them so wet and so ready to just burst that you don't even need to go further with that. Hell, your partner can just sit there and masturbate while watching you do it. It's nothing, it's not, it's part of it. It's part of your body, and they're there for a reason. They have those nerves for a reason. When playing, when they're stimulated, they're shooting off all of these sensations from the nerve system, your nerves, and it sparks your genital sensory cortex in big words. So basically, it sets off the same area of the brain that's aroused by vaginal clitoral stimulation. So that's it. That's where that comes in. A lot of women describe a nipple orgasm as like something that sneaks up on you and then explodes out of nowhere. Because all you're thinking is, oh, well, you're playing with your nipples and they're on the upper portion of your torso. Your vagina is way down there. How was it getting there? That's where all these nerves are connected. Don't ever think that just touching one area is not going to serve somewhere else. It sends it throughout your whole body. And then with a nipple orgasm, it's a slow and gradual build that gives you a powerful climax. And it comes in waves because you can continue to do it, stop and play with the level of it as well. And it's a trip, because when a woman is on their period, obviously women are much more sensitive when they're on their period or that time of the month. So if you're going to, because all of the hormones that are surging, so if you're not going to go have sex while your partner is on their period, but you still want to get them off, this is the best way to do it, because it is so much more sensitive. Breasts are more sensitive. Nipples are more sensitive. They get very, very tender. It's because our bodies, this is our way for a female to tell our bodies that, there's you're not pregnant or anything like that. So it still kind of goes through a little bit of that process. And then when it figures it out, that's when you get your period. But because of that, that's where all that sensitivity is coming from, all that tenderness. And with that, you get that heightened arousal. So everybody can have a nipple orgasm. Just women are just more sensitive than men. But men can also do it. If you don't know if you could do it, hey, why are you listening? Why don't you try it? You might surprise yourself. This a way to do this also in other ways. If you're with your partner, have them have your partner do it for you while you're sitting there and find it out. Might be more sensual that way, especially for the male. But, man, you can get your orgasm on now, too. Go for it. Now, generally, when it comes to playing with a woman's breasts, boobies, if you want to call them that, but nipple play doesn't have to lead to the orgasm. It can put you so far up there. And if you're so sensitive, you can have an orgasm and then still have sex and have another orgasm and really work at it again. I mean, remember, mainly women can have multiple orgasms. We are special people. So don't be jealous, men. Because, you want that endorphin rush. So here are some things that you can help your body to achieve the big orgasm, the big O. Obviously, set the mood. Those are always important. Come on, candles, music. I don't think I gotta tell you that kind of stuff. Make it a nice, relaxing setting. Because you're probably sitting in front of the TV and playing. You get your arm around each other or whatever, around her shoulder or your partner's shoulder. And you already got your hand on their shirt. So, and you're playing with them and they're getting on. So don't think it. Because you are comfortable. Whatever your relaxing, comfortable position is, please do it. So, continue on with that comfy position. You can focus more on when you're comfortable with feeling pleasure without feeling uncomfortable. So that's the whole idea of getting comfy and in a comfy position. This is really, really one of the important things is to let your mind wander. Obviously, the majority of everybody is, if you're going to go into foreplay, what's the end result? You're going into penetration, sexual intercourse. But it doesn't have to do that. Allow your mind to wander and what turns you on. Fantasizing and how it is. Just fantasize how it would be to be orgasm, or what you want your partner to continue doing, which will even turn you on more, which would get that orgasm going when he's playing with your nipples or she's playing with your nipples. And very, very important, take your time. There is no rush here. No rush. Try and engulf all the different sensations you feel from playing with your nipples and your breasts. Experiment with different things, different techniques, different ways in which to touch your nipples. Try temperature, ice cubes, warm, wind blowing on them. Try these different things. Obviously, start with your fingers. So if you want to be really daring, start with clamps, nipple clamps. And they have nipple vibrators too. They have nipple suction cups that you can put on, which will sensitize your nipples even more. So remember, there are other things out there, but start with your fingers. And then add on to these sensations. The sensation that you're starting with your fingers, with oils, lotions, like I said, nipple clamps, which are now coming in vibrator form, and all of that good stuff. And that's really getting that sensation boost going. Now, while you're in there, let one hand wander. Whereas, they're playing with your nipples and you're really getting turned on, but because you're getting so turned on, but you don't want to tell them, play with your clitoris and stimulate that at the same time. Hey, you got another hand. Use it. It's what it's there for. Start going down onto those other erogenous zones, or the clitoris. You can get, granted, a nipple orgasm, you don't need to mess with your clitoris, because all you need to do is play with your nipples. Try that first, because that sensation is still going to be there, especially if your partner has a real big orgasm and they have certain things that they have to do to work that orgasm and get through it. That orgasm hasn't been fully tapped into. So stop playing with those nipples. Then you can go back and do it again. But watch. You can achieve an orgasm, and a big one, from just playing with your nipples. But play with other parts, as that you get into that, play with other parts of your body. There are ways now. I'm going to get into the ways on doing this. Little techniques here and there. How's that sound? But what we're going to do first is take a break, the first break in the show. So get that snack, get that drink, come back, get relaxed, and I will meet you back here for more Sex Talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Welcome back, my little nipper snatchers. Yes, my little nipple players. And we are talking about that nipple orgasm and playing with them and making them happy. They love to be touched. And when we left off from the last segment, we're going to go over how to pinch, stroke, twist, and more those little nipples. So let's keep going. Now, generally, you just want to go right into your partner for this. But, you could try it on yourself. Because while masturbating, because what happens is, that's going to tell you where and how you want that partner or yourself to touch you. It's going to get you off. It's going to get you to that orgasm. So it's always good to play around and find, explore those little areas, because not only the nipple will get you to that orgasm, but the breasts. Hey, got all those sensations in there, women. You know that. Don't gotta tell you that. Because some people who have, believe it or not, breastfed, they'll ask you the question, is it normal that while the baby is sucking on your nipples, you're getting aroused? It is normal. They are literally stimulating those nerves. That's an erogenous zone. Boy, I'm getting tongue-tied today. If that's that's one of them that's going to set you off. And yes, it does happen. So for that person or woman who told you if they were breastfeeding and it didn't happen, they're probably lying to you. And the reason being is because they are providing nutrition to that baby. They're not providing that sexual aspect. So it's, quote, not normal, but it is normal. They're messing with those sensations and your nipple. Your nipple's sensitive. So don't think it's something bad. But then again, don't use it on top of that, which I'm assured some people have done. Let's not. Alright, now let's continue on with ways in which to do this. You can start slow by focusing on your breath. Take long, deep breaths. This helps you relax, get out of your own head, and be able to concentrate more on your body and what you want to achieve right then and there from that nipple play. So you gotta tease yourself by playing with all other areas, as with your fingers, your hands, stroke that belly, go up your ribcage, which you can feel, then around in between, take that hand and just go all over your body, then come back. Because now you've gotten that feeling, that sensation going over your body. Now your breasts are like, hey, I'm here too. I'm here too. Just play with the breast area. Don't touch the nipples yet. But touch just around your breast, because you're sending off all of those sensations and that you're building them up. This is what we want to get to. We want to get to that when you get to touching those nipples, boom! You're just going off into orgasm heaven. Oh, you can use a light touch. Circle your breast, the areola, with larger strokes. Just keep stroking. Go around. Use one finger. Use a number of fingers, but keep going around your breast. Then you're just going to go really, just ease right into a breast massage. Your breasts are going to be ready. You'll know it. Give them a little squeeze. You'll know it. And if the partner's doing it, this is how, you go in and do this. Now, in between that massaging and squeezing, you can trace the areola. Because that is really, you're leading right up to that nipple, and it's a really sensitive area. They're not there for only for, nutritional purposes for a baby. They are there to play with. Trace that outline of that areola and just keep going around it. And that's without touching the nipples, because it's building that anticipation. And you want that anticipation, so keep playing with it and going around it. You'll see the nipple rise, because that's what it's there for. You'll see it get hard right before your eyes. Now that you've gotten yourself nice and hot and bothered, move your fingers all over that nipple, because now your nipple is crying for it and it's ready. And they should be erect at this point, and you didn't even have to touch them. You're just playing with everything else. You're going to rub your nipples slowly. You're going to increase the speed and pressure as you become aroused, because now your body's feeling it and it wants you to mess with them. It wants you to amp this feeling up so that you can have that orgasm, that nice orgasm. You can stop playing with the nipple and go back to rubbing the breast and squeezing and massaging it, and then go right back down in it. It's like a getting in there and playing and then stopping, and you're going to look for more, because your nipple's going to say, no, come back, please play with me. Now you're ramping up the pleasure by pinching your nipples. Come on. Pinch those little boogers. And I call them little boogers because they're little cute things on the end of your breasts. And they are so responsive. And this pinch will send a rush of sensation through your body, and you should be able to feel it. You're going to be like, oh my God, that does that, and that puts it there. Yes. The harder the pinch, the better the play around the pressure. Play with that pressure. Soft to light, soft to light. That's where you're going to find, they're going to give you, like I said, we have things on our bodies for reasons. Granted, some body parts get taken out, but our body is still functioning. So why not use all your body parts in for what you want them for? And, just don't limit yourself to pinching. Try twisting a little bit, that nipple, pulling it, and see where and how touching or what you do to that nipple gives you pleasure. And because this is how you're going to find out new ways that are going to get you off with the nipple pleasure, and playing with it. Now you bring yourself to the edge of that orgasm, and then pull back and repeat it, because the next time you come in, you'll be even closer to that orgasm. You're going to play with your nipples and rub your body to create that wave of orgasm pleasure, that ripple through your body. Arch your back, rock back, do whatever. Those hands are there for a reason too. Get them working. You know the deal. And when you're ready to push yourself to the limit and let go, let that orgasm go. But get yourself to that orgasm, because that orgasm is going to be so tremendous. And even if you're in the middle of it and with your partner and you want to go straight into stimulation, get your partner started in that orgasm, and then in it goes. Stick in your penis or stick in that toy or vibrator, and then let them sit on that and go. And then you could just watch them, because you brought them all the way to that. Now, if you're only doing it by yourself, there you go. But hey, your partner knows to go in and do all these things, and I'm sure they're already getting to that point with you. So remember that. So do it for your partner. They have nipples as well. So play with them. Doesn't matter the size, they are still sensitive, and they're built different ways for that reason. So do play with it, and try and play around with it. Give a little nibble there. Nibble that little orgasm, the nipple. Nibble it with your teeth, just lightly. Don't bite, because they're not gonna like you after that. They are sensitive. They will get injured very quickly. So if you are deciding to bite and play a little bit with that a little bit more pain and the pleasure, just be careful and considerate of your partner. Okay? Now, moving on with some more techniques to put in there. Hot breath works. You can start, breathing warm air around on the nipple by blowing on them, because that's also going to stimulate the nerve in the nipple. Remember, it's all about the nipple right now. They are our friends. So play with them. Then go in with the tongue. Start licking. There are, a lot of ways that you can lick the nipple. You know that. I'm not going to tell you that. You can suck on them, which is the next one. So get into a sucking. If you have you're in a role-playing feeling and you feel that you want to play the mom and the baby, which is really weird, but hey, it works for some people. So play around that way. Remember, if you breastfed and it turns you on, that should really turn you on then. And this way you can do it and not be afraid of having that orgasm. You can flick the tip of the nipple with your tongue, or you can just cover the whole entire surface and lick the whole thing. Completely up to you. Sucking, add in a little suck in between licks, because that's what that is there for. You want to draw the nipple into your mouth to stimulate the extra blood flow and to increase that sensitivity. Like I said earlier, nibbling, but do that very carefully, because nibbling, if you're going to use your teeth, can also hurt. But if your partner says to do it, just again, do it. Listen to what your partner has to say. There are different sensations. If you want totally different sensations, obviously we're going into the oils and the lotions, and these also help to enhance and ramp things up in nipple play. Again, they have all those lotions and things that are out there now. They have ones that are warming lotions and oils, which you can put all over the breast, or you can just put it right on the area in the nipple, which will enhance that nipple play, because that's what they're there for. Again, you get flavored ones as well, so do go out there and try them, because that's what they're there for. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Now, as I mentioned earlier, use like the hot and cold, so get an ice cube. Get an ice cube. And use the ice cube, because it will send chills all over the body and technically with the ice cube is going to send the nipple into an immediate nipple erection. So those are the positives with the ice. So now vibes, nipple vibrators. I did mention this earlier, but we're going to get a little deeper into it. They create that hands-free way to massage or to stimulate the nipples. So they're getting stimulated right through that little vibration. So do, put them on, but put them slowly and slowly amping up the vibration, because some people are much more sensitive than others, and turning it on full blast might just send them in so quickly that you'll be sitting there wondering what the heck it did. So remember that. And obviously clamps. I did go with that just a little. You can get those vibrating or not, either or. They have regular ones. They have all kinds of different ones now, little magnetic ones now, which is really weird. So go into that little sex store and start looking up what's going to give you the best sensation that you want in a clamp. Obviously, lubricants and nipple clamps go together, but obviously, they are slippery, so depending on how you use them, they might just fly right off. So, with that, we're going to go on break. So, replenish your drink, replenish your snack, come back, get relaxed, and I will meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, welcome back. Our topic is focused in on nipple play and orgasm that way. Well, orgasms are all fun, and we'll discuss that in the last segment. But continuing on with nipple orgasms. Now, if you haven't had one yet, believe me, you probably are missing out. Your partner could probably tell you the same, and it's not like they didn't try. But you need to work all of your erogenous zones, and nipples being one of the big ones. Obviously, the skin, the nipple, there are sensitivities there. And the nipples, when you stimulate them, they invoke wickedly erotic sensibilities. I mean, trying to explain that feeling is really hard, but you know you like it. So, all those vibrations, everything going. You describe it the way you want it. And you know how that goes. Our orgasms are controlled by our brains. So if we're stimulating some portion of us, obviously our brain is doing what it's supposed to initiate the beginnings of the orgasm. And you know you want to just get there. They're not just for guys. Again, let me reiterate that one for you. So, obviously, repeat after me. I think I can. And that's right. You can. Some people's, have only thought of getting that orgasm through penetration sex. And so you have dismissed that having a nipple or just playing with your nipple or having to need the clitoral stimulation is the only way to do that. You have to really know who you are and know that you can do it. And if you are educating yourself about your own body or the body in general, this will come up, especially sexually. So, some people will get up there and say that they can't get that orgasm with just nipple stimulation. So you really try it. And in other countries, obviously, there's a little bit more sexual awareness. But the sexual awareness here has grown tremendously. So do try it. Go back and try it. Find a partner who digs boob play. Seriously loves boobs, nipples, everything that you want to call them breasts. They are very aware of what your breast can do. What are those things that are, that will get you very sensually or get you stimulated, and know how to do nipple foreplay so well that, you don't even have to worry about them doing anything else. This might be their fetish, this may be their kink or whatever, but having somebody who is into boobs knows completely what to do, how to do it. Even if you're sitting there saying, yeah, doesn't work. I need to have this, I need to do this. Believe me, they're going to show you differently. Being open to that orgasmic nipple play chance, any different type of orgasm chance that comes available. So, if you have plans, there you go. Make the plans if you don't have plans, or make it really where you're going and you're only meeting up for lunch, have a short amount of time. Boom, there you go. It gets you into wanting to do that more. And that might just be that only time where all they're going to be doing is playing with your nipples. There's no time to go through all that penetrative sex, and they want you to orgasm. You're horny. You've told them you're horny. They coming home just to please you, or they're coming wherever you are. You're meeting up and you are doing it. The first thing they're going to go for is your nipples. Man or woman, they are there. Now, another thing which is really good and to know on how to have a nipple orgasm is learn the Nipple O technique. And it's stimulating your partner's or your own nipples, which wakes up those same nerve cortex activated by your genital play. So, you need to understand the nipple play. It is a slow build. It's almost equal to understanding foreplay and how to do that and get you moving on there. It's a slow build. It's working around that. It's adding things, trying different other things. It's targeting specific areas. Now, for the nipple orgasm, obviously you're wanting to start with that lightly touching the outside, the underside, and top of your breasts. Obviously, put in the areola. Do not touch the nipple, because just stimulating that portion of your breast is going to give you an instant erection, a nipple erection. You're going to work your way towards that. You're also going to watch what your partner's response is with that boob play there, that nipple play, that just breast play. Don't touch the nipple. The breathing, your partner's breathing, the response that you're getting overall. Now, this may come, they may not get overly excited over the fact that you're just gently, touching or going around or rubbing the breast area. So, obviously, add a little bit more into that. A little squeeze, You know, a little pinch, a little pull, a little wiggle. Massage them. Obviously, massages are always good. Ha 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 ha. But also, if this is what you're working towards on your partner, it would be really a smart idea to work on it on yourself first, because there's similarities where something that may work on you may work on your partner as well. And then just watch what those body functions or the responses that you're going to get from your partner. I mean, don't use your nails when you pinch, obviously. When you bite, don't bite down hard. Just little teeth, because those are still sensitive areas and they can get damaged very easily. You know, just after like massaging the breast itself, going around the areola, encircling it, and you see a small nipple erection, you want it a little bit higher, just do that little pinch to get it a little bit more high, because now what you're doing, all that sensation that you were playing with the breast is now going into the central portion of the nipple. You know, it's going to get aroused. It's going to get hotter. You know, start licking them and sucking on them and doing all that, you know. Once they are erect, some people cannot tolerate more stimulation. So, because it is working and producing more oxytocin, you know, so some people can't handle it because, oh my God, you got them right on the edge. Others, you can work in and out of changing things, hot, cold, pressure, little pressure, hard pressure, depending. So, and please do give feedback, partners, because your partner does not know. If you want more, tell them. Tell them when to touch. Tell them what to do. Because this is you. They're trying to get you to that orgasm. So, a little mindful meditation, is great for orgasms, obviously. So, listen to everything that is there. Listen to your partner. Listen to what your partner has to say. Their responses. Breathe in. If they tell you like to breathe or to do this. Whereas it's going to go, you know, they tell you to, you know, obviously start thinking about it. How you feeling? What is it that you want? They start asking you questions. Do you want more? Well, respond to these, because this is how they know. Obviously, going down and starting to stimulate the clitoris is going to get the nipple and the clitoris at the same meeting, and that stimulation is going to throw you over the top, because your brain is going to react to both of those in the same way. If you're playing with your a woman's clitoris or a man's penis, it's just a little bit, or actually more added stimulation, depending on which is more sensitive. And it's going to bring a sync between your nipples and your genitals with that stimulation. So ride it. Go right into it. You know, if you want a little bit more, your body's going to tell you what you want and where you want it and how you're feeling. If you want more, say more. If you want them to slow down and go slow, hotter, express how you feel, because this is for your pleasure, not only for theirs. Okay, so it's for both. There's two parties there. Unless you're in there masturbating by yourself, well, then that's your own. You can do what you feel the need. It's your body to get you where you are. But if you're going to bring what you're doing in masturbation and what you learn into, you know, partner play and sex and that act of sexual intercourse and foreplay and outer play, you may want to be very boisterous, because they don't know and they cannot control what they're doing to you, how it really feels, because they can't feel it. You can feel it. So you need to be very boisterous. So remember that. Now, after even if you're with a partner and you've done something, just remember what worked that time or the first time that you did it, and allowing that to be another open area for your orgasm. Because, next time you get in there, you're going to want that. You're going to want more of that play, and they're going to want to give it to you because they saw how much you enjoyed it. So you got to look at it that way. You can't go in there and think that they're not going to want to come back and do it again because they've seen what the effects were on you. So do remember what you did. Partners remember what you did that got them off. Sex is an open area to explore, and keeping up with all of that knowledge and knowing, if you want to please your partner, how to do it. That learning something new every time actually opens the gateway for learning even other things when you go and you're continually doing it, because you're going to always learn something each time you have sex. So this is a way of looking at that. This is a way of realizing, oh my goodness, this really got them off this time. I want to do that and see if, okay, let's try this now. In, accompanying that, does it work? So that's a way of looking at that. So we are on the last break of the show. And with that, when we come back, I will talk about some types of orgasms that you didn't know you could even have. So, completely up to you if you want to get up, if you are in the middle of masturbating or pleasuring yourself or even trying out nipple play. Do stay there and continue, but get yourself a drink, get yourself some more snack if you like, but do remain relaxed. And I will meet you back here for more Sex Talk with Andra.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. So welcome back to the final portion in the show, and where we continue our talk about orgasms, and we've been really focusing on our best friends, the nipples, overall, but obviously we still want to have more orgasms. So we're going to finish up the show, which discusses, there are some types of orgasms that you didn't even know that you could have. So let's go in and do it. I mean, talking about orgasms is fun, because when we talk about orgasms, what do you guys think about is sex and how to get your partner or yourself to that ultimate orgasm. We also think about different sensations that help to get you there, or how, people feel about it, how it makes them feel. You're watching them. How are they going to respond to that? So that's where we are going with this. So let's talk about that lovely orgasm and all kinds of different ways to have such, because that seems to be the ultimate goal for the majority of people engaging in sex and foreplay and all of that stuff, and especially nipple play. So, we all know about the O orgasm, and it really, it's like putting yourself, don't put pressure on yourself to have or to achieve the orgasm. So when you do that, that orgasm comes a little bit more easily, whereas you're putting more focus into that sexual experience between yourself, or you and a partner. So it takes off that, makes you relax, makes that orgasm come much more naturally and so much more enjoyable. So remember that when you are going for that orgasm. So, talking about orgasms and types of orgasms, and probably ones that you either knew or didn't know you could have, obviously, is the anal orgasm, which is number one on our list. Obviously, anal sex has always been a taboo, but nowadays has kind of sort of risen to the top in some respects. And I think people are more aware now how close that is, especially in a female, to, the vagina and all those nerves and all of that sexual pleasures that come along with it. And that knowing how to treat politely your anal cavity or in the anus is the way in which you're going to get there, because for the most part, come on people, we're only talking about our genitals when it comes to orgasms and stimulating those areas. Well, everything is really connected. So that anal cavity, or our anal cavity, shall we say, overall, we all particularly have one, is rich with nerve endings. And it's funny because the rectum, it sits just past the canal, but it does share a very thin wall with the vaginal canals. So that's where that sexual stimulation is really coming from. And it's funny because they explain it as, this means that the G-spot is internal apex of the clitoris and can be reached indirectly through the anus. So really that G-spot is the back of the clitoris, and going in and through it anally, you're hitting the backside and you're hitting that thin layer of skin that is there. There are tons and tons of nerve endings there, and this is why we are basically turned on by it in the anal sex. So, but if you're going to engage in it, please do take your time. Make sure you have consent. You communicate about it, because if it's not something that you do all the time, you can very much you can very much hurt that individual. So remember, with everything that you're trying, please take care in doing so. Another orgasm is an energy orgasm. And this could be an erotic experience what happens during this particular orgasm, it releases accumulated tension in both the body and the mind, and sometimes connects to the spirit aspect of you. So all that energy that comes together and you're focusing it in, whereas you are you suddenly release stored up tension and energy, and all of a sudden it comes out in your orgasm. And I think a lot of people step back and say, oh, that's when I haven't had sex in a long time, because it's all built up. Well, no, that's not always true. So it's explained really like a physical volcanic, shall I say, orgasm. And it's really characterized by a quick build-up, a rapid release, and a cool-down period. So with all that energy, it's not localized. It's all over you. It still comes out genitally. And, from your genitals, you're going to ejaculate. You're going to, come, do all that stuff. But it's more all over your body. And you feel it in your fingertips, you feel it in your toes. And this is one of those things where they say, oh my God, I felt that orgasm all the way into my toes. Yes, it's an energy orgasm. So it just means that you are it's a profound satisfaction. It is your whole body experiences it. And it's a really powerful orgasm. Everything, you could feel it like really everywhere. Emotional orgasm. Now, this is generally is not have to deal with sex. Obviously, we are working on that emotions. It's the same buildup as that energy orgasm, but there's a combination of breath, movement, sound, and multiple contractions where it's followed by a release of that orgasm. And it doesn't have to be erotic emotion. It could just be all that emotions that you were building up. The total experiences. You allow your body to express all these emotions that are going through them without trying to basically stifle them. So you are actually working all these emotions. All these emotions are they're being forced into your orgasm, and that's what makes it powerful. So you want that. You want to have that feeling. You want to have all of that. And I mean, there are anger orgasms, cry orgasms, rage orgasms, and you are literally taking all of those built up emotions and just concentrating it into your sexual experience and going and letting loose that way. So working off all of those emotions and centering them right into our genitals, and that orgasm overall is quite powerful. Obviously, another orgasm is the nipple orgasm, which we have already discussed, which, hey, go have some fun. And it does take a lot of trust with your partner and a lot of patience along with it. It is emotionally intense and kind of nerve-wracking. It is. The nerves are really there, and that's what they are there. They know about it, so you just have to treat them with care. We already know about our lovely nipple orgasm because that was the topic of the show. So, zone orgasm is another one. Now, genital stimulation really isn't always necessary to have an orgasm in some people. A non-genital orgasm is explained as a zone orgasm, which occurs when a sensitive spot or zone on the body of a person not usually used for erotic stimulation is stimulated to a peak. So you're not going straight for the genitals, but there's another part on your body you didn't even know could get stimulated, and your partner hits it. And that initial awareness of knowing, oh my God, you weren't expecting it. You weren't expecting it at all. So now that you hit it, you have no control, and you can't stop it from happening because you didn't even know that you could get stimulated that way. So that is, there are some people, and there are other zones that you kiss on and stuff, but the neck, the earlobes, under armpits, the hips, the thighs, toes, fingers, all those other areas are zones that, there are times you use them during your foreplay and then also during penetration and stuff like that. But if you just focused on that, or if they just go to that and they start doing something different that's not the usual way of, tending to the needs of those zones, all of a sudden, you're not expecting it. So what's going to happen is, boom, you're going to explode. And this even includes your scalp, because how many of you go to get your hair done, and I know people who fall asleep in the barber chair or in the hairdresser's chair because the massage, or just them even combing the hair, somebody else doing it is a total relaxation or a total turn on to them, and you didn't realize it, that this was doing this. And then you come in where you're actually having that sexual encounter, and that person comes in and touches you. You're not expecting it. You expect when you get your hair done for it to be done, but you're not expecting this person, the person you're having sex with, to do it. Then all of a sudden they do it, and boom, it catches you off guard, and you just let loose. You are stimulating your brain. Another orgasm is a caregasm, and this gets your heart rate. Exercise gets it moving, but so doesn't sex. You know that. With a caregasm, it contributes to can contribute to, shall I say, especially in women, to the fact that some women are actually having orgasms while doing it. Sometimes you don't even know that you're doing it, but because it's an orgasm, and women can have more than one. Hello. But with exercise can bring on an orgasm while you're working out and everything. Now you're going into having sex. Sex is a very good exercise. But your mind is so set that, okay, this is exercise. Why am I having an orgasm? Whereas you're in sex. This is exercise too. It's just the goal and the focus is on getting that orgasm. So, it is there. Exercise induces an orgasm. Remember that. It is there, so exercise more. And especially during sex. But ladies, if you don't want to masturbate, exercise, because that will give you that orgasm as well. So on that note, that is the end of my show. for now, because I will be back with the other shows. And as always, please do practice safe sex, if not for yourself, for your partner, and vice versa. Also, if you are going to try anything new, please educate, communicate, and consent between both of you. So again, thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sex, well, not so much the Sex Podcast Network, but the GSMC Podcast Network. And I would love for you to please subscribe to the show. Give us a good rating. It not only helps me, but it also does help the GSMC Podcast Network on bringing what the listeners want and what they enjoy. Also, please do look us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because we are there too. Leave a positive review. Just write some ideas of what you would like to hear on the show. And as always, when coming to the end of the show, please have a awesome sex night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.